Oh, what podcast number is this? Oh, shit. Number 41. Okay. I forgot how I start these things every time. It's such a long break between every single podcast, and I always forget. Maybe I just yell the word podcast.
Nice.
So that's it. Yeah, podcast. Hey, there we go. Number 41. I am Lachlan, and this is the You Talk Too Much podcast. And with me today, I have
Top Shelf.
Top Shelf.
Adam from Top Shelf.
Another local YouTuber, local Canberra YouTube boy.
Yeah,
I like having the local people on. Yeah. It's always fun. It makes me, first of all, it makes me look great. Because I just show, like, hey, here's all these cool people. And it gets to, like, show off everyone else. It's a win-win-win. I don't know who the third one is, but it counts. Yeah, exactly. It's...
There's some random guy out there going, I won!
Some dude's like, yes, me next. I'm in. Finally. My channel's going to take off after this podcast.
Yeah, that's it.
Alright, so how's things, man?
Yeah, good, man. Looking forward to this GammaCon thing that we're going to and stuff. So, yeah, it should be interesting. I haven't done a panel before. Have you been on one before?
I have done two before. I did the last two GammaCon Canberra YouTuber ones for the last 2 years.
Oh, nice.
So,
How did they go?
The first one actually had a lot of people there, but the actual podcast panel itself wasn't super interesting, like to any of us. It was sort of just like all of us. It was 6 of us on there, and we all sat there in a big line, and Dyslexic Beanie was down the end. Phil from Canberra YouTubers. At the time, it was an admin. And he would ask a question, and then all 5 of us would each take our turns, slowly answering that same question. And then we'd go down, he'd ask a question too, ask another one, and we'd do it again. And it was just people watching us in silence. So then, last year, Phil had taken a break from YouTube and admin stuff, so we were kind of on our own. Yep. So we just wanted to do a whole new thing. Last year, we're doing it so the same we're going to do GammaCon this year. How we just sort of open it up to the room immediately. You know, introduce ourselves and just go, and that was so much fun. I love that one. I've got like people I follow on Instagram now from that panel just because they were heaps of fun in the crowd, and now we just follow each other on Instagram and stuff. It's awesome.
Well, you get more engagement, don't you? And they're getting something out of it then because they're actually getting their question answered rather than going, well, I sat there for an hour and got nothing.
Yeah, like I hope my question gets asked instead of like
exactly.
This way they actually get to like ask the questions they want to know. It was a great time. So yeah, that's hopefully what's going to happen on Saturday, which we should probably talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Well, maybe give the people a rundown of what's happening and what you're doing it for.
Yeah. So let's see what happened. We got approached by GammaCon, or how long ago? A couple months ago now.
Yep.
They're opening up another GammaCon event in Wagga Wagga, and because the Canberra YouTuber panels go so well, they invited us to do a panel at Wagga. So it'll be me, it'll be Adam, who you're hearing on the podcast now, and another lady by the name of Sophie Carlin, who's a local Wagga YouTuber.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to meet Sophie. I've tried to find her channel. Have you found access to it? Or
I did find it, but to be fair, I cheated and had a link from the get-go from the GammaCon dudes.
Okay.
I think I posted it in our little group chat, but I don't know why I would have if Sophie was in it. So I'll try to find it for you and send it across to you. But yeah, I mean, you're here. How about you tell the podcast people what you do? You know, tell us Top Shelf and Adam and everything else.
Yeah. So I've been doing YouTube about 4 years or so. I started it off with a mate, and that failed pretty quickly due to the fact that he sort of thought,
hello,
YouTube.
and welcome.
What do you think YouTube was? He thinks he's just sat in front of it and talked, and then magical videos come out of somewhere, and you earn millions of dollars. So after about 2 months of me working my butt off and him not seeing anything happening out of it, it all just sort of fell by the wayside, and I sort of said, well, you know, I'll start a different channel and when you're ready to do whatever you want to do, we'll get together. So I started this with a couple of other mates, and I've been doing it for 4 years since. You know how it is with YouTube; it's hard to keep motivation up. So I've had a few people sort of come into the channel and then wander off again. You've probably had similar issues. Didn't you have something with Pathetic Industries or?
I am Pathetic Industries.
Oh, well, there you go.
I had some stuff with some other people. Yeah, I've had some fallouts and some ups and downs with a lot of people. The bigger one for me is probably Nerds and Stuff, is a show that I do on Pathetic Industries. It started off with me and same situation as you, like another friend of mine who just, at the time, just thought like the key to YouTube was just make a video and get famous immediately. And when it didn't happen, it sort of...
No work needed.
Fell out. Yeah, you just... All you do is hit upload, right? And then suddenly, like, yeah, magic happens and 1 million people have seen your face.
Yeah. Mine didn't even believe you needed to edit it. Just do it, man.
Just chuck it out.
Fine.
Yeah. So, I did all the work, same as you. All the editing, set up, like, bought all the equipment, stuff like that. And, I mean, I still really enjoy doing the gameplay videos.
Yep.
But I don't expect to get... Like, they're my least watched thing on the entire channel. People watch the podcast more than they watch the gameplays, and, like, I have a rankings now of what everyone wants to watch in my audience.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and I guess that's a key thing about being on YouTube, is trying to pick what works well with your channel and stuff. Like, I mean, you know, specialising in YouTube's probably the best thing that you can do, but we didn't want to do that because we wanted to do 4 or 5 different types of videos. So we do games and gear and events and beer and you know, some random videos as well, and a bit of a vlogs come in this year as well. So, you know, but if we'd been niche, if we'd just picked, say, reviews, it probably would have been a lot more successful. Like, I mean, we have our good videos that get up to, like, you know, 30,000 views was our biggest one, and then the rest was, you know, like a few thousand. And then other ones, like you said, that lucky, you know, if I get 50 or 60 views on them or whatever. Let's Plays don't get a huge amount of views on my channel. Some of them do well, and some of them are pretty average. So
yeah, Let's Plays are a weird niche now, where like the grown-up audiences, they have who they want to watch it. They're not looking for anyone else because everyone else is playing the same games anyway. And everyone who is like getting into YouTube and building, like, people that you can build your audience with are all kids who are already watching, you know, people who are massively famous. The kids aren't searching for a bunch of other pages for, like, smaller YouTubers.
No, and I mean, YouTube isn't helping the smaller YouTuber either, to be honest. So, you know, I guess it depends what you're doing it for. We're primarily just doing it as a hobby.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any intention of monetizing or any of that sort of stuff. You know, I think I would have earned maybe $300 in 4 years if I'd monetized from the start.
Yeah. I mean, you know, $300 in 4 years isn't bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's
but I mean,
good.
I got discounts off products that was a lot better than, you know, I think we got close to $1,500 worth of discounts on products.
That's pretty damn good.
Which was a lot easier than trying to monetize and get money through YouTube. So, yeah.
I should get into reviews. Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of you asking the businesses, you know, and seeing whether, you know, we were buying a racing chair, and I sort of thought, oh, well, I'll fling them an email anyway. And yeah, you know, they gave us a discount, and then my mate bought another chair off them, and so we got a discount for that, and I got a discount off a wheel and a set of headphones or something. But you know, I also had to say to them that I wouldn't be biased to their stuff, because I'm not going to go and say, oh, this is awesome, when it's slowly falling apart in front of me or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Have you done any of that sort of stuff yourself? Like, are you monetized? Do you get...
Not really.
On YouTube?
I don't bother with it, just because it does just seem like a hassle. Like, sitting back and looking at it, like, I just can't be bothered to go through the steps to monetize anything. I've got a couple of videos that could easily... That's true. There's a couple of videos I could monetize, and I'd, you know, make some money off it, but I still don't think it's super worth it, just because, I don't know, it is a hobby. It's a hobby, and then the minute that I start making money off it, it becomes something else, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because of a friend of mine, and he's done his own thing. He's done DNA bow hunter, which is like he goes out and hunts in the bush for animals and stuff, and takes them home and eats them. He started his own like DVD sort of thing with a mate, put it on Vidme or Vimeo.
Vimeo?
Yeah, Vimeo, that's the one. And so we're going to do an events videography business, which we started up just last year, halfway through last year.
Oh, very nice.
So we're going to be, doing wedding videos and that for In Motion Imagery is the name of the place, and all that. And we're doing that. We've got our first paid wedding this year, so that was $2,000 or something. It's a lot of work, but a lot more money than I was ever going to get from YouTube. But it's funny because I've got this as a hobby, this YouTube thing, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing this business. And I wonder if that's going to then make me not enjoy doing YouTube anymore. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be working to get money.
Yeah.
A similar sort of thing. So
it's a very, like, I do the same thing. Like, I have YouTube, and then on the side, I suppose, like, I've got a real job as well. But on the side, I also do, like, freelance film work, just whenever I can. Purely through word of mouth at this point. I don't really advertise anywhere.
Yep.
But, I get a lot of work from it. And, like, it's separate from YouTube in a way because YouTube I don't make any money off or anything. The actual freelance film work is a proper like second job, and for that one I might, if it's worth the money, I'll take time off my actual job to do the freelance work and all this other stuff. If I start monetizing YouTube, I don't think I can justify taking off work to do YouTube videos. It'd be it's a line I don't want to cross anytime soon. I mean, surely, like, if I get to the point where it's justified, if ever some miracle happens, and, there's hundreds of thousands of people like, hey, let's watch a video that fucking a guy called Pathetic Industries made, then it's justifiable. But for now, it's just silly. That is actually one of my biggest pet peeves of small-time YouTube, is small-time YouTubers that treat themselves like the big, massive, famous people.
Oh, okay.
They pretend to be better than other people, and they'll set it out like a business. They'll have like a gaming channel that has which has I don't know, 6 or 7 commentators, just a bunch of friends.
Yeah. But
one of them will be the appointed CEO, and they'll all work for that guy. And like they'll treat it like they're Rooster Teeth or one of like those big ones like College Humor or those huge YouTube like companies. IGNs and all that stuff, and they're getting 100 subscribers total, and it just feels just too fake. Not even fake, just like wishful thinking that's gonna make you a little sad.
Yeah, look, I mean, I totally get it. I can't do where you go and turn on a YouTube video, and the person's must have had every drug under the sun because they're losing their mind over nothing. Like, they're playing the most boring game in the world, but they're like, oh my god, look at that, the biggest tree in the world, oh my god, look at the leaves. I can't do that on the camera because it's bullshit, like if I'm enjoying the game,
absolutely,
I'm like, oh yeah, this is great and rah, but I can't just go, oh my god, I'm losing my mind and scream into the, because if it's just not me, I'm not going to pretend to be all faked out and stuff like that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That stuff drives me nuts, man.
I'm glad we have things in common. Yeah, I noticed you were doing... Oh, good. I noticed you were doing Halo 5 campaign walkthrough right now. That's uncut, isn't it? From what I could see. I don't have heaps of time to check it out, but...
Yeah, pretty much. I'll just, talk and go through the gameplay. I've had other games where, if you've got to backtrack somewhere or whatever, you cut
that kind of stuff out, yeah. Where you need to run around through town or anything. Whoa. Oh. You're very quiet. I saw your mouth moving, but no sounds coming out. Something happened.
Sorry, my controller
there we go.
turned off.
Okay.
Soft. So I'm doing it through my PC, through my Xbox on TV, so...
Oh, cool.
So I'm nice and comfy.
That's a good idea. I'm doing it at a dining table, hoping my roommate doesn't walk in the door. He'll probably let me out for 10, so I got time, maybe.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, with the Let's Play, it's pretty much just straight from, one end to the other. I don't bother chopping anything out unless there's something in the game that did nothing for a few minutes. So I like Let's Plays because they're relatively easy to edit, and they're pretty easy to do overall compared to when I do a review or something. That takes a fair bit of prep. I've got to review the product myself, work it out, and work out all the bits and pieces and what I want to talk about, and write a bit of a script and stuff like that. So they're a lot harder to do, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, that's sort of the difference in my channel. I've got podcasts, which I just sort of, if I need to cut anything out, I'll make notes during the podcast, like live, like cut out this time to this time.
Yeah.
And then I'll do exactly that without even listening to it, really. Like, I mean, obviously I'll make sure it looks like a smooth cut. And then just chuck it out. And then I've got gameplays, which I think maybe the most heavily edited thing, which is weird because I've got like sketches and impression videos. But I mean like videos where I do impressions.
That's got to be more editing than that, though, wouldn't it?
I mean,
stuff it up now and then.
yeah, but it's pretty like the editing wise, it's really easy because it's just cut, delete, get rid of the shit bits and keep the nice bits in. The harder editing parts are the gameplays for me, just because my gameplays are like different. I was like kind of leading to the conversation. My gameplays are like very heavily cut down. We'll record for 45 minutes to an hour and put out like a 5 to 10 minute video.
Yeah.
And it's just like all the bit enough story to keep you involved. Yeah, kind of like a montage. Enough story to keep you involved and enough jokes to make me laugh. And then all the heavily edited stuff comes in where I just like add in dumb pictures of other crap. Or I remember one of my favorite edits I've done was we were playing Outlast, the DLC. And there's a chainsaw wielding or a buzzsaw wielding dude. And so I made this whole pretty Photoshop picture of the chainsaw wielding dude on the cover of like his own dulcet sound sort of jazz music of just his buzzsaw. And it's this like lovely looking CD and all this stuff. It took like 45 minutes. Like, this is a waste of time. I need to be at work tomorrow. I need to put this out now. And here I am just putting this chainsaw dude on a CD thinking of funny tracks he'd make. And that's the heaviest editing I've done. So basically what I wanted to talk about was essentially the... Oh, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to lead into a conversation about like the differences between like your version of like uncut Let's Plays versus like montage style and whatever's in between. Like, what do you prefer to watch over what do you prefer to make?
I think the uncut ones are easier to make, especially if you're not putting like having to make Photoshop graphics and all that sort of stuff. Like, I don't know if I'd have the dedication to do that for one small laugh. But maybe people really love that stuff, so that I must admit I enjoyed watching a couple of yours, and I think I had more fun watching what was going to pop up next than necessarily what was happening in the game. But yeah, I mean, I don't. The only time I watch Let's Play sort of stuff is where I want to learn about the game. So,
okay.
I mean, obviously there's occasional people, like Rooster Teeth or whoever it is that grab you. That person's personality grabs you. Brad Plays or something, or so I can't remember his name, but the Rad Brad maybe, I don't know.
I've heard of that guy. He's familiar.
Yeah, but like I watched some of his stuff to learn about the game, and then sort of got into the way he did Let's Plays. Watched a bit more, but then he started playing a game I wasn't interested in, so I stopped watching. But I don't think that's the way that the newer generation of people who watch and YouTube are. I think they're more like what you're doing, montagey, cutting out bits and having cool little jokes and sort of quick speed because everyone's attention span.
Yeah, it's the low it's the ADD version of a Let's Play.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit, when I first looked at getting into YouTube, it was like recommended, like 8 to 10 minute videos was what they recommended, and now it's like I think it's 2.5 minutes or something, and I'm like, what are you doing in 2.5 minutes? Like,
yeah, it's really
how's
short.
it going, Yeah.
God, I would love it if you and I just got together and made a series of Let's Plays that were 2.5 minutes long, exactly. 2 minutes 30 per episode. And it's like, hey guys, we do like the whole first minute and a half is the intro, and then the last minute is just the outro, and there's just gameplay happening in the background.
Yeah.
Every time, every episode for a whole game.
Occasionally bits of someone dying on a thing or whatever. Don't even know what game we played.
Really. The game takes like a super long time, like World of Warcraft, a game where nothing happens ever.
Yeah.
It's just shitty gameplay of nothing. Yeah.
It's just got a picture of just the land. No, not even any battle on it. Just the land.
Well, the battles happen. You can see the little map on the side of the corner. Battle's happening off screen somewhere, and we're just sitting in the corner of the map looking at some shitty building that's destroyed.
Yeah. For 2 minutes, we'll just go ah.
I'm doing it. I'm in. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Look out for that.
Yeah, no.
2019 release.
That's it. We'll be taking the world by storm and be huge YouTubers.
Yeah. We're following the exact algorithm they recommend. So
Yeah, that's it. It'll win.
yeah. Have you done many collabs in your YouTube life? Of what was 4 years you said?
Yeah, I've done a few. I've done some with RCJ Gaming, who's a guy from Britain. Some from the Gamesman he was on YouTube, but he's had some life stuff get in the way, so he's been offline for a while. Some with a couple of Purple Torch Gaming. So I've done a few bits and pieces here and there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they're enjoyable if you like the people. You know what I mean? If you can get in there and have some fun with them and you've got like-minded personalities, then I think they really work really well.
Absolutely. Like, if two people that don't mesh well do a collab, you can always tell that they met that day. They say about 6 words to each other and hit record.
Yeah, exactly. Like us, man. Like us.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. We've met a couple times at like meetups and stuff, and we've been talking on Facebook on and off. But this is like probably the longest conversation we've ever had, and it's recorded, and I like it. I'm having fun.
Set up for life, man.
Yeah.
We'll be able to look back at a child with our children and stuff. Oh, do you remember that time?
Remember before I was a famous YouTuber for making 2.5-minute long gameplays?
Exactly, to the algorithm.
Yeah, back when I was a poor person.
Yeah, that's it. Now I'm egging PewDiePie's house.
With your kids, just chucking eggs.
That bastard kids, throw it. Yeah, I think YouTube's changed a lot over the last 4 years, so I don't know, there seems to be so many people on YouTube as well.
Absolutely.
It's almost like, is anyone actually watching anymore, or are they just...
It's just
all just putting videos up?
For me, I know it's on in the background. Like, I don't really watch YouTube. I put it on while I'm doing something else. Yeah. With everything. Like, I still get the full experience that I'm looking for in YouTube. It's like, hear all the jokes, and I'll rewind to see the funny visual bits if I need to. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't necessarily sit down and watch YouTube during the day. And I think a lot of people, it's very passive now with YouTube. It used to be more active. There was a community involvement, and now people are just like, whatever, it's gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, I watch the channels that I support, but I mean, I used to have probably, I don't know, 100 channels I properly supported. Like, I'd go and watch, I don't know, 2 to 3 videos of theirs a week.
Yeah.
Comment and whatever. But like every YouTuber, you get people who join you and then they never say boo again, or they unsubscribe a couple of weeks later, or whatever, which is fine. I don't need YouTubers. I need people who aren't YouTubers to watch my stuff. So whoever's listening to this, come and watch my channel, and I will, say you're awesome.
Oh, absolutely. There's links at the end of the video. There's a card on the screen right now for Adam's channel. There'll be one in the description.
But yeah, now I've probably only got maybe 12 or 15 that I regularly support, because they either died, they lost motivation and left YouTube, or they just unsubscribed to the channel, or were never supportive, or whatever. And I'm only willing to give my time, towards someone who's willing to give it back to me, sort of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless it's something that, like, I watch Craig Adams. Have you seen him? He's like a wedding videographer and stuff, but I'm into wedding videography, so I watch his stuff, and I don't expect him to come and support my channel.
Practice makes perfect. That's like a different, that's entirely like a whole other thing. Like, that's an active YouTube user, someone who like needs to learn something. Like, if I'm watching a tutorial, I had to figure out how to use OBS just a minute ago, and I was like, how do I? Like, I've got everything set up to look like it's recording, but I hit record and it doesn't go anywhere. And then I watched his tutorial and found like 10 clips that accidentally recorded while trying to watch the damn video.
Yeah. Look, I love OBS. I think it's a great free program for recording overall. I think the UI, like the user interface, is a bit, how's it going? And
could be better.
It's just not very obvious, like you said, that you're recording, or that stuff was happening. Or
I have no idea if anything's working. I mean, it looks like it's all working, but from what I've learned, nothing's working the same way as all of my other editing programs. It's like it looks like all the editing programs, but it works differently somehow, and it's confusing me.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I'd select my game because you could add 8 games in to be recorded, but it still didn't record it. And I was like, what the hell? And my mate went, "I just do the screen capture thing, and then you're all good. Like it just captures the whole."
It'll just show you what's on the desktop.
Like, awesome, good to know. So, but yeah, otherwise, I think it's a pretty good program. What do you use to edit your videos?
To edit the videos, I use Pinnacle Studio, 18, I believe, the not most recent version, which my roommate loves to lord over me because he's got the most recent version. And
Never even heard of it.
Pinnacle, it's very, it's obscure, but it's very helpful. My granddad used it, and he like had all the codes and stuff, he had an account for it, which I should probably get renewed actually. Well, not for my own one, not his. But yeah, it's one of those ones that was bought by Corel, which is a shitty spin-off of Paint.
Yeah.
And then Corel was bought by like Adobe, and now it's just sort of like this spin-off of a spin-off of a spin-off that no one uses, but it's so helpful if you're starting editing. Yeah. And then I've used it for such a long time, I can't bother to change to anything else because I know exactly how to use every single part of Pinnacle. It's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same as I used Adobe Premiere Elements, which is it's a stripped-down version of Premiere Pro.
Oh yeah.
Really simple to use, and it has even got like a really basic version where it tells you everything. Little pop-ups pop up to, tell you what you could do, and it'll do half the video for you if it wants.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then you can sort of move up to like a guided thing where it sort of lets you have more access to more stuff, but it tells you how to use that new stuff, and then you can just use it on Expert and use the whole suite of stuff. And I found it really good. I've been using that for probably 3 years until I got Premiere Pro, and it was an excellent starter program for anyone who was starting, and it only cost me $60.
Oh, that's pretty damn good.
I bought an old version off eBay. I don't have to pay for a cloud service or any of that crap.
Oh yeah. Goddamn Adobe.
Yeah, I can't stand that stuff. But anyway, so it was a great little program to start with, and I think you need something easy and simple when you start off, just because it's also daunting, man. Time and sitting in the camera and being funny and stuff, and not slapping yourself with a fish or something to get some views.
I think the hardest thing for a lot of new YouTube people to realize is that you don't have to force yourself to be funny. If you're funny, it'll come out if you're comfortable. Because that's when you're funny, it's when you're comfortable. Or when you're really uncomfortable, which is, if anything, a more fun way to approach YouTube. I'll look into that and get back to you.
Get some really attractive woman to sit next to you while you're talking and stuff. Just stuff all your words up and everything, and you'll be going, god damn it.
Just someone to rub on your leg while you have to stare at your mother. And you're like, I can be funny now. This is uncomfortable. I'm fucked.
That's it.
Yeah.
Screw this, man. I'm out. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got a friend who comes on the channel, Brother Beer. We just drink beer and review it. But
it's such a good idea for a show. I don't know why I hadn't done that. It's so good.
Fun, man.
It's such a good show.
But he's actually understands all that stuff. I've learnt over the years. I'm getting better at it. Before I was just like, awesome, it's a beer. Well, he's going, can you taste the wheat and blah blah blah, and the hops were done at this particular.
And you're like, I can taste the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that this tastes like beer.
That's it. Looks yellow. Cool. Done.
I mean, it's such a good idea for a show, though. I think.
But,
Nope.
I just.
I think your controller's turned off again. Something happened.
Oh,
there we go. You're back.
All
good.
good. I'm all good. All right,
Yeah.
Cool.
Every now and then, your microphone switches to. I'm guessing what your Kinect or something that's very tinny all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. See, it was funny. I was going to go with the Kinect thing. And then I was like, no, if I put the mic on, you get better quality audio and that sort of stuff. So I love my Kinect, by the way. They freaking gave so much shit to it and I hate it. It worked perfectly for me. I could tell it to turn off and on and stop my musics and pause them and go to YouTube and all that stuff. And it just works.
I love my Kinect for every reason except for my friends because they can speak to it and it'll understand them when I'm trying to play games or do anything. It'll understand them better than it understands me. And it's the most annoying thing in the world.
Mine sort of vetoed most of my friends.
Oh, there you go. Mine just vetoes me.
Scream at it and yell at it, and it would do nothing. And then I'd go, "You just say go to YouTube," and it'd go and go and do it. And they're like, "Screw you, man! Why doesn't it like me?"
One of the funniest things I've seen is someone, one of the larger podcasts out there. They have a big audience, and people would watch their podcast on an Xbox. So every now and then during the podcast, they'd say Xbox off, yes, and they get a bunch of tweets from people going, "Oh shit." Oh, so good.
Yeah, my boy likes it as well. He can just walk into the room and tell it to turn on. He keeps on telling all his friends he's controlling the machine with his mind.
I'll see if it can work now. I'll see if I can turn mine on from far away. It's like across the room from me. Might not even hear me. Xbox on. Nah. Fuck all happened. Never mind. If any of my friends are here, they could say it. They could whisper it from the bathroom, and then you'd hear it fine. It would turn on immediately.
Yeah, maybe I could try it. Xbox on.
Nothing. I would love it if that worked, especially because you're in headphones right now. Nothing happens at all, but it still turns on. I'd be so impressed. You are magic.
Flopping on the floor like a fish, and the Xbox turns on. Shoots a disc out at your face.
It's not even you're not even connected to the Xbox or anything. Your Xbox just has always been magic. The Kinect does nothing for you.
Yeah, I don't want to say Xbox off.
Yeah.
Because it'll turn it off, and then that'll be the whole. There we go.
Oh, that'll be just it's like an abrupt end to a podcast.
Yeah.
We should just.
Maybe we'll try that at the end.
Yeah.
That probably won't work for the first time in history. That'll be right.
Oh, okay. So now we have to. Alrighty. Well, every podcast, I normally have a hard-hitting question, which is never hard-hitting and barely even a question. But we're about half an hour in, so I feel it's about time to try one. What have I written down today? Alrighty. Adam Topshelf. My rock. My one and only. What's your dumbest moment of 2018 so far? What's the dumbest thing you've witnessed or done yourself this year? Keep in mind we're 3 months in, so there's nowhere to go but it's further downhill.
Well, that's true. I'm trying to think of I haven't had any major, I haven't stuck myself with a pick through the foot or anything like that.
That's good. That's good. Has it happened before?
I did once step on a coat hanger in the middle of the night, and it somehow slid itself right up the inside of my skin on my on the bottom of my foot, like a good two centimeters up there, and that was not comfortable. And because with a coat hanger, it's inherently going to move around. So the minute I lifted up, going, "What the hell?"
It moves
it's wobbling
again.
around.
Oh,
Oh,
that's awesome.
So, yeah, that was pretty stupid.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
That didn't happen this year though. Yeah. It would have been. I was flying my drone, my Mavic Pro or whatever the hell it's called, and I was trying to get a shot of a bridge. Like very cinematic, go up and fly through the bridge, and you see the sea and everything. And so I moved it back behind this bush, so I could sort of rise up from behind the bush, and you'd see this beautiful vista. And this big fucking dog came pissing down over the hill near the beach, straight towards my drone, and I went and tried to lift it up out of the way, and it just flew straight into the bush and went. Luckily, it turns itself off when that happened, so
that's good.
It didn't get too much damage. But yeah, that was probably the stupidest thing that I've done so far this year.
I thought you were going to say it flew into the dog.
Yeah. Well, thankfully it didn't grab it or anything, because when I checked it out and then went back up, and the bloody thing chased it all over wherever I flew. Like I flew out to the sea, and the dog went halfway out to the sea after it. Freaking loved it. I thought it was the best toy ever.
It is the best toy ever, though. It's got a camera on it. Oh, of course it is. You're trying to get cinematic shots.
Yeah. No, it's by DJI. It's a great drone.
I love
awesome
DJI. DJI have the coolest camera mount that I've always wanted. I've seen it in my dreams.
Is that Osmo?
The Ronin. The DJI Ronin.
Well,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah, like $10,000 or something.
$7,000.
Ridiculously expensive, fucking cool ass shit.
Yeah. I remember we went out to scout some photo locations last weekend for the wedding that we're doing. And we went to the National Gallery, and there was a wedding on there. And I walked around the tree as I was doing like our stuff, looking for stuff, and there was like $12,000 worth of video equipment just sitting on the ground. It's obviously from the cameraman that's way over there, and I'm like, oh man, if I was a different person, that would not be there anymore. Because they had the same thing, like they had one of those, the Carl Zeiss sort of, the computerized, like the Ronin sort of thing, it just, you can have your camera on a gimbal and it's all controlled by a thing. There was a Mavic drone and a few other bits and pieces and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just I decided not to be a good boy and went up to the guy and said maybe you should move that to within some sort of site or something. Because he was like, oh, what? And I'm like, oh,
why?
And I just saw all your $10,000 worth of equipment there. You're a good. Like he was at least 20-30 meters away, and I'm like, dude, like, put it behind, because he had one of those big white sheets where they take all the photos of people.
Oh yeah, the drop sheet, yeah.
Why would you not stick it just behind that? Like, it's surrounded by people. There's less chance of anyway. Yeah.
Now that was that guy's dumbest moment of 2018.
Yeah, go out there. Yeah.
What if it just didn't matter to him? Like it to him, it was nothing. He just turns around to you like, "Why would I move it?" Smoking like $100 bill.
Yeah, that's it. He's got a red camera.
Yeah, he's got shoes made of gold, a tie made from the last Tasmanian tiger, and you're like, I could have taken it.
That's it. Why was I not born a thief?
That's a good title for this podcast.
Why was I not born a thief?
Yeah, every podcast we do, I hear like the good clip of the best title, write it down to remember, and I end up like 6 at the end. I'm like, shit, now which one do I put in there? Which one's the most offensive?
That was a good one.
That was a.
Now, which one do I put in there? that could go across so many things.
Oh, it could.
Yeah.
I could just make a whole new show just called Shit.
That's what you should name your new channel, man. Start a new channel. Shit, what do I put in there? And you could just have a box. Put random shit in it.
The entire show is based on audience suggestions and.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you should put shit in your shit box. And you're like, this is taking a turn. This is episode 3.
Yeah, that's it. It's already gone downhill and you're on episode 3. Holy shit.
I had a great idea for a sitcom series that I would never make in my life just because it would be way too difficult to make today. And it would go perfectly on this shit channel.
Lazy as I am, man.
Oh no, like purely just because it would, in my brain it would have so much like need for special effects and like a real budget. But I wanted to call it like something called like run of the mill or like generic, just really generic sitcom style. Like the intro would always be that like classic like Brady Bunch thing where they're all like turn and they smile for the camera. It'd have this great run of the mill theme song, and basically every episode would just begin exactly like every other boring ass sitcom. Like, the dad just bought a bar or brought home a new car or something. And by the end of the episode, the most insane shit happens. Like some guy gets...
Like the bar falls through a sinkhole and gets totally destroyed.
Or like the bar comes to life and becomes like a robot and tries to destroy the city. But then like the start of the next episode, it's just normal again. Like nothing happened last time. Every episode is just some new weird shit.
Yeah, the next episode, the bar's the husband's mistress.
Yeah. Like someone gets cut off in traffic, and you got that classic like nemesis sitcom thing where like, there's that guy that cut me off in traffic again. Oh shucks. But then it turns out like in this show, that guy's like an alien from another country sent to like impregnate that person or something. It's like just weird shit that I just wanted to shove into a box of shit. Yeah. It's my new channel.
It does sound like a lot of special effects are required, I must admit.
Yeah, so it's never gonna happen.
What about the Beastie Boys? Because they did sort of special effects on a cheap budget. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe you could do the same. You're could just be a big cardboard box, man.
Oh my god, it'd be even better with really bad special effects. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, just get 500 cardboard boxes and make it in your backyard.
I love
If you
it.
trash it, it doesn't matter. We'll just get more boxes.
Oh, in that case, to anyone listening, that idea is copywritten by me. It's my intellectual property, or whatever the whole deal is that you're supposed to say whenever. Make sure no one steals your joke when you mention it in public.
What happens if the guy just goes, I'm me?
You're like, oh, damn it.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Oh, he's got me again. He's got him again. I'm me. No, I'm him.
Who's me?
I am you. You're me? No, I'm me. You're you.
Someone's who, I don't know.
It's like the old Abbott and Costello, like Who's on First sketch. The classic comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good stuff out there, that's for sure.
Oh,
That's
man.
for sure.
All right, well, we're almost at the 45-minute mark, so might be time to call
Fantastic, we made it.
Call it a night. Yeah, we did it. Didn't have a single, like, super long, awkward silence the whole time. So I feel like, just to make up for the fact that we did make it obvious we haven't talked very much before this, for the next 5 seconds we should just have a completely awkward, uncomfortable silence.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I couldn't stand that. Oh, my God. Oh, I almost said something and laughed at the very least. I just tried to make... That's actually why I did like the montage style over the Let's Play videos, because I hate silence. I can't stand like dead air. What do you do in dead air when you have your Let's Plays? Like, do you talk the whole 30 minutes?
No, I don't. Sometimes I have little breaks here and there. I think it's a bit weird to, like, if there's something somewhere, like, you know, I'll talk about it. But yeah, sometimes I just let it float. I'm just like, it's all good to have a little breather here and there.
That's fair. I once tried to do an completely uncut Let's Play series for the channel 4Play, which is sort of fallen in a bit of a lull at the moment. 4Play is now the local Canberra channel. And I would talk the whole time. I would try not to have any silence at all, just because I couldn't stand it. Like, just myself. I knew the mic was on. I was like, I need to fill it with words. What am I doing?
Well, I think that's with a podcast. That totally makes sense.
Absolutely.
Because if someone's watching something, then a little bit of dead air works. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't really matter, because they can see stuff happening. But if a podcast, you know, you might be going, is my radio still on? Like, what the...
Yeah, like, do they pause it? God, I want to fuck with the people who only, like... Obviously people will just chuck a podcast on and sort of half listen. I hope that 5 seconds of complete silence fucks with them. Just enough to, like, just check it's not paused or not broken or frozen.
Next time we'll do static, and we'll put some Alexa, funny laughs in there.
Oh, we still have to, like, cut this podcast off really, like, abruptly as well. We just have to, like, say Xbox off to finish it.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
I mean, before that, do you want to just plug everything in your channel or what you're doing before, like, say goodbye and, do the elevator pitch? Get people to come to your channel from here.
Yeah, well, thanks for listening, guys. This is Adam at Top Shelf. We do games, gear, events, and beer. So come along and check us out. And thanks again for having us on Pathetic Industries.
Ooh, I like the rhyme of games, gear, events, and beer. That is lovely.
All right, man, we're going to try this out.
All right, let's see if it works. And if it doesn't work, it's even funnier. So this joke is great regardless.
All right, ready?
3.
Xbox. Oh, no, you're going to count me down. All right, yep.
No, all right.
Listening. Stop. Oh, no, it's doing that stupid listening thing.
I hate that. Okay. I'll count you down from 3
All right. Yep,
and end at 3. 3, 2, 3.
Xbox off.
That did not work. Oh, it did work! Yes! That's awesome. Now I'm sad, though, because no one's here. All right, well, great podcast. You talk too much. Go check out Adam on his channel. Go check us out at GammaCon Wagga Wagga on Saturday at 3 o'clock, I believe, if you're in the area. And bye.